Welcome back, dear friends. I wonder if this is going to be the last video, as I keep promising, just to get this part, the base part, finished. Who knows? So the first job is to drill a 10mm hole to stick the studding in. So simple. Or is it? Sometime later, and after quite a few attempts at trying to figure out how on earth to make sure I can drill on the pillar drill a perfectly perpendicular hole, I've come up with this method, having tried all sorts of other things. Curved bit of wood, 2 clamps. I'm going to sit that on the pillar drill, and I've just calculated where the depth stop, that thing needs to be. So let's give that a go. So simple. I forget that depth stop. I've just tried to get this sorted out and the handle was in the way, so I turned it, and obviously that's all wrong. You can't beat a simple bit of masking tape. Oh, and the reason that I'm taking so much trouble and time over this is because that has to be perpendicular. If it isn't, this leg will not fit perfectly against the side of the TARDIS console. You know, you just carry on getting additive errors and they get worse and worse and worse, so it's well worth with this sort of thing ensuring that is absolutely perfect. I'm just drilling the holes, 2 holes in each of these other bigger ones, and look, the tripod has found an invaluable piece of use to support this end while I drill the 2 holes there. Well, you don't usually see that. A chuck in a chuck. It's because I need an 80mm deep hole in here, and the drill, the pillar drill, won't actually go down far enough in one go. So I have to drill part way down, then put this extra chuck on just to extend it. But it does work really well. I've marked out the 2 bolt holes very carefully, and then clamped the piece of wood, that curved wood, with the 2 holes on the inside, drilled right through, and then bolted it, plenty of glue and the bolts to hold it in place while the glue sets. So you're left with that effect. Lovely. Right, those 3 are glued in place and clamped in place with the lovely bolts, and now it's time to stick some more lovely bolts into these holes. What I did, a 10mm hole, and I put loads of super glue around inside so it run down, so it's soaked out into all the MDF, so ensure that the bond is really good. Now I was going to use araldite and epoxy, 2-part epoxy glue, but this is so tight in the hole that I think I'm just going to use super glue. Well, that was interesting. Using lots of this araldite, 2-part epoxy glue adhesive, it gets everywhere. It's one thing to get your super glue all over your fingers because it sets instantly and you can sort of pick it off. But when you get this on it, because it's even though it's rapid, it stays sticky for ages. It's horrible stuff and nothing gets it off. But I have managed to glue these studs in. They go in 80mm to ensure they are really, really firmly stuck, because there's going to be all the force with the console on the top of this trying to pull that out. I've put the 2 bolts as high up as I can. You don't need one at the bottom simply because that's going to be in compression, but these 2 will be in tension. So that's good. And also, what's this? I don't know, I can't find the front of it. Oh, there it is. It's Rustoleum Cast Iron Effect paint, which apparently you can only wash the brushes in xylene, which I haven't got. What a pain, never mind. So, first thing to do today is to offer these up and see whether I can bolt them all on, hopefully fitting exactly, and regardless of which holes, you know, they should be interchangeable because I was quite careful drilling and marking, or even marking and drilling. And the bottom ones, we'll get it all together and see what it looks like. Another issue I have is because these have got a flat back, they should really have a slight curve, but that's going to be impossible. So I am covering the sides with packing tape, because the great thing about packing tape is that the 2-part wood filler I use won't stick to it. That's really exciting. Look at that, fixed together finally. And there we are, you see what I mean? Now I can squidge the wood filler down here, get it all nice and flat, and then hopefully unscrew it once it's set rather, and it'll leave me the perfect angle. Peel the tape off, put it back together and paint it. This is on an industrial scale. Can't believe how much is squidging in, I suppose. Well, it's not surprising because it's quite a large area. Talk about mixing up golf ball sizes with pea amounts of hardener. That's amazing. I've got 3 of these large spatulas on the go at once, which means that after I finish one lot, I can mix up another one with a clean spatula and let this one set, these ones set. And then once they're set, you can peel that waste off. And if you sort of, just before it sets, when you're finished, if you drag the spatula along and get a nice little ridge along the edge, it makes it much easier to pick off. I thank you very much. The great thing is you don't have to be particularly careful, you just have to squidge it in. It's lovely because you know it doesn't matter if it squidges out all over everything, for example, like that. Because when you come to take this off, you can sand the edge to get that really nice and peel the tape off and it all disappears. This is why I love this stuff so much. Look at that. I've just gone and filled the dishwasher, come back and it is absolutely solid. Amazing. So, get the tripod and in front of your very eyes I will try and remove one of these and see what happens. This 2-part filler is amazing stuff. Apparently the cream part, the filling part, is made of very, very long molecules, like spaghetti, very long. And the hardener is made of small molecules that are really tightly bonded together, sort of awkwardly too closely, that want to spring apart. When you mix them, they do spring apart and they then start forming bonds, links between the long molecules. And then it basically stops being spaghetti, well, it's like cold spaghetti, I suppose then. The moment of, look at this! Look! That's what I'm talking about. You can see how far it's squidged in. And now that's the perfect curve. I can now quickly sand the sides flat, take off all this, and it's done. Right down to the top, the curve at the top. I'm very pleased that's worked so well. Right, let's get sanding. Well, this all looks very strange, but these offcuts made the perfect way of holding up and supporting the arms while I paint them. I didn't want to paint them on the actual thing itself because obviously they're detachable. I don't know what this paint's like. It's very strange paint because it comes with tons and tons of safety warnings, and apparently I have to wear gloves, protective gloves, not just any, PVA protective gloves, and all-round eye protection because it's got xylene in it. It's very strange. Anyway, quite daunting because apparently you have to wash the brushes in xylene and I haven't got any, so I've got a selection of old brushes which can sort of be ruined, and I'm now putting off actually starting to paint it. It's ridiculous. I've got the spray area ready with the fan going to draw the fumes out, which is good. I've just got to stop talking and get on with it. Look at that. This is really nice paint to use. I'm sort of learning how to use it as I go, and you can put it on really quite thickly, and it's all glinty and shiny, and apparently dries within half an hour or something. So I'm going to paint everything because it's obviously going to need a couple of coats. I'm going to paint the whole lot. I haven't painted the middles of the holes because I don't want to waste a brush doing that. I'm not quite sure how to do that, and the big one won't fit in. Anyway, I'll get on and paint the big girders. No xylene to clean the brushes with so I can take the dog for a walk. Da, da, da. Tin foil and a rubber band and some tape. There's the pot of paint that I've left open, which will be full of vapour, so that will hopefully keep the brush from drying out. Another great top tip from Steamhead. I'm very pleased with that. That's really nice paint. I would like to put another coat on because in some places you can see where the direction of the brush has changed, but that's not too shabby. Now I need to paint the innards, and the lovely thing is about this paint that it really is absolutely dry in 20 minutes and in half an hour absolutely whatever. paint comes after half an hour. So that means I can poke my arm through here. I was going to do it earlier and realised I would get covered in it. So let's get all those bits painted. I've put a second coat on these small ones. Look at them. I put them outside so they can dry without stinking out the extension. Oh, look at that, where they catch the sunlight. That's amazing. This is fantastic paint. I've finished painting it. Look at that. And the inside. How lovely. I'm not sure about their advice regarding gloves because, mind you, they probably didn't think that we were going to be painting a TARDIS. I mean, gloves don't come up that far. What are you going to do? I've just bolted it together. And look, how exciting. I'm so pleased with it. It has come out perfectly, exactly as specified on the plans. And that paint is just gorgeous. I mean, look, all the little mini girders catching the light. And then the large ones that look spectacular in the middle and everything. I'm really pleased with that. Thanks very much for watching. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions or queries in the comments. Always happy and enthusiastic to help others with their amazing creations. And remember, there's more information on all my inventions and things and projects on my website at steamhead.co.uk. Thanks again. Hope to see you next time for another exciting project.